Hello friends, Kelly DeHaan here from the Hale Center Theater. So glad to do another, I guess this is not singing with me today. We're going to talk about auditions a little bit more today. And we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of the audition. I play a lot of auditions. I started back in the 90s. I used to play for the Grand Theater back in the 90s. Some great theater we did back then. And then I started playing for the Hale Center Theater. And then I was getting calls to play for DeHaan and for opera auditions and for all sorts of community things. And it has been my pleasure to play for so many people and to watch their auditions. But during my 23 years of doing musical theater, I have seen some really interesting choices being made. And today we're going to talk about the details, the ins and outs. And the first thing we're going to talk about is your resume. Okay, I want to show you exactly how long we are given to look at your resume. So you stand in the front, and then we start passing down your resume. And the thing is that we want to watch you, we want to watch your audition. And a lot of actors are like, they didn't even watch me. Well, we tried, but we've got to look at your resume. We've got to look. But this is about how long, because we've got producers, we've got director, we've got choreographer, we've got a stage manager, we've got the music director, and we all need to see that resume. All right? We pass it down, we look at it about this long, okay, and then we pass it on. That's all the time we get. So you have to be clear with that old resume. All right? It should all fit on one page. And if you're thinking, well, I have so much experience, I've been on Broadway for years, I've been doing all these things, great, but make sure that everything you really want us to see is on that first page. All right, because what we do is we take your headshot and we put your resume on the back, right? We staple it to the back so we can just quickly look. If we are interested in you for a specific role or character, then we'll give it a closer look, right? We'll look at who you've studied with and where you went to school and what shows you've done, what roles you've played, and how recently you've played them. But you need to be specific and very clear with that resume on one page, going on to page 2 with specifics if you need to, okay? Resume. At the Hale Center Theater, we use a program called Casting Manager, which is a digital online program where you can sign up for an audition. And it allows you to list everything that you've done. And if we need to take a deeper look, Casting Manager is the way we go, and you can be very specific with that. It's important that we do that. Now, your conflicts. Actors want to impress the panel. They are very, they dress up for their audition, and they're on their best behavior at an audition, and they laugh extra loud at anything that the directors say. And we're on our best behavior because we want to get cast. And one of the things that we do to get cast is that we sometimes exaggerate how free we are during the rehearsal process. And this is not a good practice, everybody. You have got to be honest with your conflicts. I'll let you in on a secret. We know that the more talented you are, the busier you are. That's just the way the business goes, except for this time of Corona. Then even the most talented people are doing nothing. But in real life, you are busy because you are talented, and we know that. And we know that when we cast gifted people, that they're going to have conflicts. But we need you to be honest with your conflicts and list them and be specific. For example, if you teach a yoga class at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays, but it goes till 7, so you're going to be an hour late for rehearsal, we can work around that, but we just need to, if you're good enough, we can work around that. And you just need to list it so we know to expect you at 7:30, right? Just being very, very specific with your conflicts and listing them all. It's much easier. We are much more likely to work around your conflicts when you list them at the beginning than when you add them after you're cast. When you add them after you're cast, that's a no-no. Sally Dietlein hates that. She gets mad about that, and not much really makes her mad. Volume, diction, list your conflicts. Be honest. List them up front. We'll work with you. All right. There is a little question that we ask on our application, which says, please list any roles you are interested in. Will you take any role? Yes or no? So many actors do not check that box. I will take any role. Yes. It doesn't make you more castable when you say that. Don't just say that. If you're only interested in playing Peter Pan, then just say Peter Pan only. I'm a Peter Pan only. That's great. If you're only going to do our project if you get the lead, awesome. That's great. If we really see you with something else, we might try to talk you into that. We've done that. We've done that hundreds of times where we've like, this actor does not know what they're castable as. He's 70 years old. He wants to play Peter Pan? No. But he'd be a great whatever. So just be honest. If you will only take one role, check that box. List the things that you're interested in. And if you will take anything, woohoo! We want to work with you. That's great. But you have to be honest on that question. All right. Your headshot. I have seen some of the most glorious headshots. I mean, actors are beautiful. That's they're very confident and they are beautiful people, and they want to be. They find these great headshots. But I've also seen some of the most ridiculous headshots ever. Selfies that they print and they're like this big, or hand drawn. Or just a smiley face because they forget to bring a headshot. We use those headshots much, much more than we use your resume. You might not know how we use your headshot, but we do, all right? So once we have done the initial call, those that we are interested in seeing for a callback, we lay them all out on the floor. And then we start lining them up with possible doubles and start thinking, who do we want for what? Do we really want to see this person? And we look at your headshot a lot. The headshot needs to look like you look now. Not that day. You don't have to be wearing the same thing. That's weird. But it needs to be recent, right? With your hair color proper, your weight where you're at. Not a glamour shot from the 90s. That's great, but it's not great. We don't want to see that. We want to see the way you look now, all right? But at your best, right? Little editing, little lighting to help out. That's the way we do, right? That's what we do theater. We have great lighting, we have great makeup, and we kind of Photoshop ourselves on stage. But it needs to look like you. It needs to have your personality. We use it a lot. Get a good headshot. It should take up that whole page, that whole 8.5 by 11 inch page. All right? Or an 8 by 10, whatever you want to do. Does it have to be black and white? Does it have to be color? What about landscape? That doesn't matter so much. It needs to look like you, and it needs to be big, so when we throw it on the floor, we can see, and it's not just a hand-drawn smiley face because you forgot to bring your headshot. All right, what's next? Okay, I already said this. Be honest. Be honest about everything that is on there. All right? Your height and your weight and the range of ages that you can play. Be honest. There have been many times where we have checked on, oh, this person worked with so-and-so in this role, and we check and, oh, they didn't do that. So be honest, all right? All right. We get asked all the time if there is a blacklist at the Hale Center Theater. I'm not ever getting cast. Am I on a blacklist? There is no blacklist. There is no blacklist, all right? Are some actors easier to work with than others? Sure. Your audition is your chance to show us that you are the one we want to work with, that you are easy to work with, that you're the one that will be fun and dependable. So there's no blacklist. But let me say this. You are always auditioning once you make a show, okay? Even if you don't make a show, you're always auditioning. We have a lot of people who, if they don't make a show, they go right onto Facebook and they blast us, and they blast the experience, and that's their way of getting their angst out, I guess. But that always comes back to us somehow. Did you hear what they said about you? I know, people are mad at me if they don't get cast. But that was just, you just failed that audition, right? We don't want to work with that. Also, if you make a show, there have been many, many embarrassing times where I have cast, or I've been a part of casting somebody that I thought would be great. And once rehearsal starts, they're a pill. They're late. They're not nice. They're divas. They don't have a strong work ethic. They're lazy, right? Or they start phoning it in. Oh, I got cast, I guess I can just phone it in. What? You have to earn that part every rehearsal, every show. We run for a nice long time at the Hale Center Theater, right? And you're auditioning every night you do that role, every single show, right? How are you treating the costumers? How are you treating the hairstylists and your makeup artists? How are you treating the techs? How are you treating the audience and your fellow actors especially? What's your demeanor like in the dressing room? Those are all part of your audition. So we have no blacklist, but your behavior, good or bad, is part of your audition, all right? So, hygiene. I wrote it on my board so I could see it. Hygiene, we don't want to work with stinkos. You have to take care of the way that you smell and look. We're dancing in close quarters. We're next to each other, cheek to cheek. It's not okay for you just to go on natural. You've got to take care of that. It's important. It's part of it. All right. I've said, we didn't even sing today, but we talked about the nuts and bolts of auditioning. Next time we are going to talk about how to pick the perfect song. Right? What kind of things to look at, what kind of things to avoid, so that the song selection is perfect, so that you have a killer audition. Thanks for tuning in.